All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm so glad that you are all able to join us. For those who don't know me, my name is Larissa Wall. I'm the Assistant Director of Community Engagement at B'nai Jeshurun, and I'm really excited to welcome you to the second in our community offering series where we are working with some really talented and wonderful community members to share their skills with us. So I am just a little bit of housekeeping before I introduce Julie. For right now, we're going to keep folks muted. Julie will be prompting all of us throughout the session to use the chat box to type in responses, which you can do by going to the bottom of your screen. There should be a chat icon and you can click on that. Just make sure that you're selecting that you're typing to everyone so everyone can see your responses. If you're having any technical issues or have any questions that you want Julie to answer later on, or have any questions for me, you can also use that chat box. Just make sure to click from the drop-down menu on my name so that it comes to me privately, and I'd be happy to assist you. So we're going to get started. So I'm very pleased to introduce Julie Wilcox, is the founder of Julie Wilcox Wellness. She has a master's in nutrition and dietetics and has a career in fitness, nutrition, and yoga that spans over 2 decades. And we're really glad to have her with us, sharing some tips of the trade as we are sheltering in place at home. And I will let her take it away from here.
Thank you, Larissa. And thank you all for coming tonight. I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to speak to you about how you can care for yourself and your loved ones at this time of such great uncertainty, when we are quarantined at home and it may seem like COVID-19 has taken complete control of our well-being. I'll just start by saying it has not. With diligent self-care practices, each and every one of us can fend off this insidious pathogen. Today, I'm going to cover 7 actionable topics of health and wellness you can employ at home to reduce stress and empower you to fight this pernicious disease. The topics are mindset, diet, exercise, meditation and breathing, sleep, maintaining contact, and daily routines and rituals. I will ask for your participation during the presentation, and we will also do a Q&A at the end. Please feel free, as Larissa said, to use the chat to keep track of your thoughts, comments, and questions that come to mind as we go along. A wonderful article in the New York Times called "In Stressful Times, Make Stress Work for You" addresses 3 aspects of mindset you see on this slide: acknowledging, owning, and using stress to transform negative outcomes of stress into positive ones. We all know that stress is our enemy and decreases immunity. Managing stress, on the other hand, can work wonders, keeping cortisol levels in check and taking us out of fight or flight mode, which when in overdrive can cause havoc on the body. Stress reduces our immune system's ability to fight destructive microbes, our brain's ability to think rationally, and the ability of our digestive, endocrine, and nervous systems to function properly. The bottom line is that stress prevents us from being able to do exactly what we need to in order to be our most healthy and productive selves. So what can we do to battle stress and maintain our well-being? This is the million-dollar question. For one, we have to gain control over our mindset, and we can do so by mastering the 3 things on this slide. Let's look at each one individually. First, why do you think it's important to acknowledge stress? Well, when we are confronted by a threat like COVID-19, our sympathetic nervous system is activated and we go into fight or flight mode, processing information through the amygdala, the emotional center of the brain. The natural reaction to something like a pandemic is avoidance, which exacerbates what we are trying to deny, say the virus, landing us in a state of mind called ironic mental processing, or a form of rumination. Here's what happens. Emotionally, we try to avoid thinking about bad things, coronavirus, for instance. Our brain then tries to help us not think about this thing by constantly checking in to see if we are thinking about it. And so we get stuck in a vicious cycle that increases rather than decreases our stress and leads us into a mindset of negativity. On the contrary, if we embrace a stressor by acknowledging it, the brain will move neural activity from the amygdala to the prefrontal cortex, which is the rational, executive control, and planning part of the brain. Operating from the prefrontal cortex allows us to be thoughtful, deliberate, and proactive so that stress can become a positive force in our life. Second, what is meant by owning stress? Well, simply, it means not allowing stress to cloud our thinking, but rather to clearly identify what is meaningful and what is not. Doing so, in turn, allows us to connect to positive things we care about and value, enabling us to figure out how we can help. Third, once we own our stress, we can use it to facilitate our goals and service, rather than focusing on negative news, criticizing others, or whittling away our time watching television or surfing social media. Simple and small actions, like bringing food to elders, providing expert content online, checking in with family and friends, donating money, and volunteering to work at a food bank or nonprofit, all make an enormous difference. What are some of the actions you've taken that you feel have improved your mindset? Please take a moment to type your answers into the chat so that we can share and learn from each other. No one? Anybody have anything that they want to share? If you don't know where the chat is, by the way, it's at the bottom of the screen. There's a little icon that says chat, and you just click on that and then you can type. Here we have a nice one. So from Judy Geller Marlowe, today is Giving Tuesday, so made donations. Awesome. Helps to have things on the calendar that remind us as well. Okay, so I'm gonna move on, and if you wanna enter anything else at any point in time, please feel free to do so. Once our mindset is in order, it's much easier to tackle other crucial components of well-being, which I will turn to now, starting with diet. You can advance, Larissa. As the field of nutrition evolves, it has become clear that there's nothing more important than what we put in our mouths. How we nourish ourselves governs everything, and eating a plant-based, balanced, and mindful diet is the best thing you can do for yourself right now. This type of eating pattern will allow you to move through your days with energy, grace, strength, concentration, and clarity. A plant-based diet can also help prevent and reverse numerous chronic diseases, including cardiovascular disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and cancer, all of which exacerbate the symptoms and outcomes of patients with COVID-19. I just want to take a moment to elaborate on the term plant-based because it is often misunderstood. Whereas many people think plant-based means vegetarian or even vegan, it is actually a catch-all term for a wide range of eating patterns, including ones like the flexitarian diet that allow for moderate amounts of meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. A plant-based diet is primarily comprised of whole foods such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, legumes, and plant proteins like tofu, tempeh, and seitan, which are made from soy. Newer meatless products such as the Beyond and Impossible burgers are made from pea protein. Whereas some plant-based diets make room for animal products and others do not, all agree on minimizing or eliminating processed, refined, and fast food, as well as eating a balanced diet from different food groups of various colors. Eating the rainbow, so to speak, is crucial because foods of different colors contain unique essential nutrients, antioxidants, and other compounds our bodies need for optimal functioning. Finally, plant-based diets are geared towards reducing saturated fat, which is solid at room temperature and clogs our arteries, and increasing unsaturated fat, which is liquid at room temperature and heart healthy. Examples of saturated fat include what you see on a piece of sirloin, butter, trans fats in processed food, and coconut oil. Examples of unsaturated fats are oils like olive oil, canola oil, and safflower oil. I have another chat that came in about handling mindset from earlier, and that is from Evelyn Lipper, and she says, took a walk to the beach. Thank you. If you're unfamiliar with plant-based eating, take some time to learn about it. Articles, blogs, social media posts, and movies abound with information and delicious recipes you and your loved ones can make together at home. One thing I'd like you to make note of is that the 2015 to 2020 Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommend less than 26 ounces of meat and eggs combined, and about 2.5 to 3 cups of dairy. And in case you're not aware of how much an egg weighs, 1 egg is about 1 ounce. So turning to mindful eating. When you eat, use your senses. See, smell, touch, listen to, and taste your food. Set up a pleasant environment with candles or dim lights, flowers, calming music, and a nice table setting with appropriate sized plates. Put your devices away. Take your time and eat slowly, chewing your food at least 20 times. The more you chew, the easier and healthier your digestion and absorption of nutrients will be. If you're quarantining with your family, try to engage in positive conversation. But if you live alone, it's okay to just sit and eat, look out the window, or simply quiet your mind and enjoy the flavors of your food. When you eat mindfully, you will begin to notice your internal hunger and satiety cues so that you will stop eating when your body has had enough. Intuitive eating is key to weight maintenance, which can be challenging in stressful times like the present. Before I move on, I just want to address 2 more diet-related topics, which have gotten a lot of buzz in relation to COVID-19, vitamin D and alcohol. Some of you have heard or read that vitamin D may reduce the symptom burden of COVID-19 or other respiratory illnesses because it produces antimicrobial proteins that kill viruses and bacteria. Although vitamin D does have immune-enhancing properties, studies about its effects on patients with COVID-19 are inconclusive. As long as you're getting the normal daily dose of vitamin D, which is 600 international units per day, there's no need to supplement for this disease unless your physician instructs you to do so. As far as alcohol is concerned, studies show that excessive alcohol consumption can weaken immune function because alcohol can damage the lungs, mucosal immune system, and gut microbiome, which are necessary to recognize pathogens and fight infection. In moderation, 2 glasses per day for men and 1 for women would not be cause for concern. Okay, here we are at exercise. As with nutrition, exercise is absolutely essential to well-being, helping to prevent, manage, and treat many of the same diseases I mentioned, and which make us more susceptible to getting sick from COVID-19. Regular exercise can lower blood pressure, improve cholesterol, control blood sugar, and strengthen bones. Fitness is also an important component of stress reduction and maintaining mental health during uncertain times. Although studies have not yet been done on COVID-19 and exercise, the effects of physical fitness on immunity, inflammation, and respiratory infections are well documented. According to the American Academy of Sports Medicine, each bout of exercise instantly mobilizes billions of immune cells capable of recognizing and killing virus-infected cells. It's important to recognize that exercise doesn't only count if you go to a gym, fitness class, or work out with a trainer. Activities of daily living, like cooking, washing dishes, gardening, doing the laundry, vacuuming, stair climbing, and dancing or playing with your children, all qualify as exercise. And now that you're home, you also have the opportunity to take advantage of moments, such as when you're watching TV, to do some squats, lunges, high knees, push-ups, sit-ups, or a tree pose. Then, of course, there is the world of virtual classes, and many are currently being given for free. From Pilates to yoga, interval training to bar classes, the options are endless. The most important thing is that you find something you love. Online classes may not be ideal. Of course, you will miss the in-person experience, but they are indeed effective. If online classes are not your thing, however, you can also design your own workouts with the knowledge you've gained from life experience or a quick Google search. A solid routine can be as simple as throwing together 3 sets of 20 jumping jacks, 10 squats, held planks, 10 burpees, 10 push-ups, and jogging in place. Regardless of what you choose to do, be patient, especially if you're new to exercise. The World Health Organization recommends 150 minutes of moderate exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise per week. But you have to work up to this. If you are not regularly active, start slowly and with low intensity activities like walking and low impact exercises. Start with shorter amounts like 5 to 10 minutes and gradually build up to 30 minutes or more continuously over a few weeks. It's better and safer to be active for short periods more frequently than to try to be active for long periods when you are not used to it. You should be able to breathe comfortably and hold a conversation while you do light and moderate intensity physical activity. Lastly, if you do not have anything resembling COVID-19 symptoms and can get outside, there's nothing like fresh air and sunlight to battle the virus. As long as you respect social distancing rules, walking, running, bicycling, playing ball with your family, and doing high intensity interval training or strength training are all great ways to fulfill your exercise requirements. And don't forget to stretch, which helps prevent injury throughout life. I'd love to hear what you've all been doing to get your exercise and if it's been enjoyable and effective. If you take a moment to enter into the chat, if there's been something you like to do, great. And I'd also love to hear if you haven't been able to exercise or are struggling with that in any way. Y360 video clips for seniors. That's one I haven't heard of. How is that? We also have Elias and Wynn Guerra, who did yoga. Walking along the Hudson with my husband, stretching and strengthening exercises at home, came in from Lisa Niven. Judy Geller, Marlowe, fabulous. And from Cindy Levy, at the beginning of the year, I found an incredible seated chair yoga instructor on YouTube. So you see, there are so many things that we may never think of or know of that are out there. It's worth getting online and taking a look. We have someone who took Zoom classes offered by the JCC, Tai Chi and chair yoga, moving for life on Sundays for people over 50, and lately not feeling well, so haven't been up to it. That happens, and all I have to say about that is it's okay to rest also. Rest is actually necessary for the body to recover. So, okay, we've covered mindset, diet, and exercise. Next, I'm going to discuss meditation and breathing. And thank you all for all those wonderful answers. So meditation and breathing. A multitude of studies over decades show that daily breathing and meditation can work wonders for your well-being. As with exercise, you can reap myriad benefits from both, whether you can make 5 or 20 minutes to sit quietly 1 or 7 days a week. I'm going to guide you in a very short breathing and meditation exercise right now. So if you can sit up tall, if possible, so that your spine is nice and long and you feel a straight line from the base of the pelvis to the crown of your head, that's where we'll begin. And once you have that comfortable position, I'd like you to close your eyes and then just listen to my voice and try to follow along. So I want you to start by taking a really deep inhalation. And as you do so, try to have some awareness of any stress and anxiety you might be carrying with you. At the top of the inhales, I want you to pause, holding your breath. And then when you exhale, I'd like you to exhale and just release calm and peace so that it travels throughout your being and even out into the world beyond. So take a few breaths, inhaling stress and anxiety and exhaling calm and peace. Continuing on with the next set of breaths. On your inhales, I'd like you to notice any tension in your body. So any tightening of your muscles or holding or cramping. And as you exhale, see if you can send relaxation into every cell of your being. And try to soften all of your muscles as you do so. And lastly, with the breaths, I'd like you to inhale and notice any pain you feel anywhere in your body. And as you exhale, send comfort and healing to whatever area that may be. And keeping your eyes closed, I'm going to transfer to a mini meditation. It's a loving kindness meditation that is well known by, created by Sharon Salzberg. And I'm going to just have you sit here still with your eyes closed, nice and tall. You can place your palms onto your thighs. Keep your chest nice and open and the breath deep as you have been doing. I just want you to repeat to yourself these lines that I'll say over and over. May I be safe. May I be healthy and strong. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. And may I be at ease. May I be safe. May I be healthy and strong. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. And may I be at ease. You can also send this meditation to others, to your loved ones, to anyone that is suffering and sick, or again, to the world at large, if you'd like. Slowly, you can start to open your eyes, or if you feel like keeping them closed and just listening to the rest of this seminar, you can. And please let me know at any point how you felt with this exercise, with the breathing and the meditation. You can just type it into the chat and I'll take a look and share it with you guys as well later. Studies show that controlled breathing and meditation can reduce stress and anxiety, decrease blood pressure, increase alertness, boost your immune system, promote concentration, improve energy, and help overcome insomnia, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and attention deficit disorder. Consciously changing the way you breathe and quieting your mind sends a signal to the brain to adjust the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system, which slows heart rate and digestion and promotes feelings of calm, as well as the sympathetic system, which controls the release of stress hormones like cortisol. All you need to breathe and meditate is a quiet, private, relaxing space you can use each time. You might like to have flowers or a green plant in your space, candles, or dim light. If your hips are tight, sit on a pillow and support your thighs with blocks, or sit with your back against a wall. If sitting on the floor is uncomfortable, you can also sit in a chair, or even lie down. The point is to get as comfortable and relaxed as you can. Many people enjoy guided meditations, and I've listed several at the end of this presentation on the resources slide you might like to try. No discussion about health and well-being can overlook sleep. I'm curious to know how many of you have been having trouble lately getting a good night's rest. Anybody? Let me know. No, I certainly haven't been sleeping the best I ever could during this time. Several studies on sleep and susceptibility to viruses and infectious disease have been done, many of which are based on participants' subjective assessments of their own sleep habits, and some of which use physiological measurements. For example, a 2015 article published in the journal Sleep studied 164 men and women subjectively and objectively, and found that those who slept less than 6 hours a night were 4 times more susceptible to acquiring cold viruses than those who sleep 7 hours or more. In addition, you become even more vulnerable with every extra hour you lose. So if you're getting less than 7 hours a night, here are some things you can try to improve your sleep habits. Establish a bedtime routine, going to sleep and awaking at the same times every day. Eat your last meal at least 3 hours prior to going to sleep and try to make it light and healthy, heavy on vegetables along with 3 to 4 ounces of lean protein like chicken, fish, or tofu, and light on fat, carbs, and sugar. Try taking a warm bath before you settle in. Light some candles and listen to relaxing sounds of nature, music, or white noise. Turn off all devices and screens a couple of hours before bedtime and leave them in another room from where you sleep. Read a book, share affection with loved ones, or do some light exercises or meditation and breathing. So I have a couple comments. One is, inhale, had trouble sleeping, so Evelyn got that breathing exercise down. And Cindy says she has extra now, which that's actually the first I've heard of that lately. So we'll have to hear some of your secrets if there are any to share. So we're going to turn to maintaining contact now. Humans are social creatures. Larissa, you can advance, thanks. And we cannot survive without engaging others. Virtual and in-person distance socializing can be fulfilling and prevent complete isolation, as well as associated feelings of desperation, frustration, anger, and irritability. Moreover, during a pandemic, we often feel unsafe, which registers in the neurons around the heart, lungs, and viscera, and can alter the nervous system, changing the way we see and perceive a threat. Rather than feeling like we can cope with the experience on hand, these changes make us feel a visceral sense of discomfort and unease, fear, and helplessness. By maintaining contact with others, seeing faces, hearing vocal tones, and most of all, having deep and vulnerable conversations that are connected, you can create reciprocal attunement, which is the appropriate sharing of emotional needs and moods. According to Bonnie Badenoch, author of The Heart of Trauma, attunement registers in the autonomic nervous system, calming us and helping us to overcome negative feelings like fear and helplessness. Lastly, suppressing negative emotions is hard work. It taxes the body, brain, and immune system, whereas talking things out with family, friends, a psychiatrist, coach, or a religious confidant can improve all aspects of our health and well-being. If you tend to be shy, call a good friend or join a Facebook group of people that have similar interests. If you're separated from your family, schedule a group Zoom and even play fun games like charades. Many businesses and social organizations are also hosting virtual happy hours and events. Choose what you like and make a point of having daily engagement. Go to the next slide, Larissa, thank you. To close today's presentation, I just want to mention briefly that everything I covered and more can be organized into a matrix of daily routines and rituals, which should also include joyful hobbies like playing games, knitting, reading, playing instruments, drawing and painting, singing, or cooking. From the time you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night, planning and structure is key in times like these, because passing time unproductively only adds the burden of guilt to these inherently stressful times. Whether in a journal, on scratch paper, in your phone notes, or on your digital calendar, I encourage you before each week gets going, and even daily, to write down what you want to accomplish and when, whether it's the meals you're going to eat, the meditations you plan to do, when you're going to chat with friends and family, or when you're going to exercise and what type you plan to do each day. We always find a way to fit work in, but the most important thing to make time for is self-care, which is vital to our health and well-being. I'd love to hear some of your hobbies, old and new, what you're doing to execute them, and resources you're using. You can enter those into the chat as well if you'd like. So my daughter decided she's going to learn French and signed up for Babbel. I'd also like to learn a new language and will research that app, but I'm always looking for new ideas. Any other hobbies that anybody's doing? Soccer and gymnastics, playing piano, a little guitar. Good. Biking, lots of reading, me too. Started journaling, great. People are loving journaling these days. It's a really good way to stay organized and relax. Trying new recipes, nice. Yep, they're seconding that. I will third that. Excellent. So thank you so much for attending this presentation. It's been a pleasure to be here with you this evening. Here are some resources I've put together for you to check out to help with what I've covered. And you can always use my resources, which I have a website, www.juliewilcoxwellness.com, actually juliewilcoxmethod.com, which is at the bottom of this slide. My business is Julie Wilcox Wellness. The website is Julie Wilcox Method. I have an Instagram account, which is JW Health. Anyway, you can find me through Larissa as well. I'm happy to help you individually in any way, anyone you know, talk to any groups that you might like to share some of this with. So thank you very much. And we'll open the floor now to questions and answers.
If you have a question, you can wave at me, or if you know how to raise your hand, you can do that and I can unmute you. Also happy to unmute folks just to ask questions. Yeah, Lisa.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
What proportion, if you're doing a basically plant-based diet, what is the proportion of animal protein that you consider healthy?
So, as I said, there's a wide range of plant-based diets that you can do, and really it's up to you. The less, the better. But any reduction of animal product consumption improves health. So studies show that even several ounces a week can boost your health. And of course, there are the environmental and animal welfare benefits that come with that as well. But I think, if one is a heavy meat eater, I always look to the guidelines just because they're there for a reason. And so I think the 26 ounces, which of course, as I said, is combined with eggs. So if you have to subtract the 7 ounces of eggs. If you're eating 7 eggs a week, that would be 19. But so you have to sort of play around with it. But the less, the better is the overall answer.
Okay. Thanks.
Is that helpful?
Sure, thank you. My husband is a big meat eater, and me not so much, but I'm cooking for two, so I'm trying to figure out,
So on a daily basis, that would come out to also about 5 to 6 ounces of meat a day. Most Americans eat 10 ounces of meat a day, or more, so more than double what's recommended. Mm-hmm. So that might be a helpful barometer as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and especially I have a bunch of friends who pick a day a week, and especially because there's so many great recipes out there that are veggie based. You can, pick a night that you want to or pick a day that's just all no plant-based food or no meat-based food.
Yeah,
with it.
Mondays is the one that everybody speaks about. But you can also do portion control. So rather than having 6 ounces in any given night, you can reduce it to 4. And do that several times a week, and that adds up to a lot actually, and maybe a less invasive way of breaking the news to your husband.
Okay.
Any
Does
other
anybody else?
Yep.
What are good ways to let out stress for kids?
Good question. Well, I have to recommend the breathing and meditation to you as well. Exercise, being active, getting outdoors is also wonderful. And yeah, I mean, I think pretty much the same things that I spoke about for adults applies to children. I know you've practiced yoga, Wynn, so that is a great way to release stress, and talking to people and being open and honest about your feelings and emotions is really helpful, especially now when things are tough for kids and very different than they were yesterday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And apparently Chris Hemsworth has been doing meditation for kids. My daughter is a big fan of Chris Hemsworth. He actually, his website center is on my resources list. So Larissa, I think, will be sending the slides out. So you guys can have these resources at your disposal. Anybody wants to, yeah, Wayne, you might want to try that, check that meditation out for kids. And you can Google, and there will be lots of things online as well. Any other questions? Thank you, Judy. You have a good night too. Thank you all for joining. New York City Ballet is on at 8 if anyone wants to tune into that.
Great.
Thank you. Hope to see you all or hear from you again at some point. Again, feel free to contact me.
Yeah, and I will make sure to include Julie's information in the follow-up email if anybody wants to talk with her one-on-one. So we're really glad you could join us, and hopefully you took a couple of tips away, and hope you join us for some other programs that are coming up. And if you have any questions about anything that's happening or any programs at BJ, you can feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Larissa, for being an amazing host.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Be well.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.